Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be going over a quick update on the new car market when it comes to new car prices. Before we get into this video though, as always, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So I recently posted a video talking about how the new car market is starting to show some weakness across the board, where transaction prices are, slowly creeping down at the same time that asking prices with new cars are also creeping down. But the numbers aren't all that crazy, right? The declines aren't massive when you take into account the average across the board. But when you look into certain models, there are some pretty crazy things happening in the new car market. And that's what I want to focus on in today's video, because yeah, there are still plenty of cars on the market that are going for MSRP, and there are still plenty of cars on the market that are going for over MSRP. But there are also several vehicles on the market that have huge discounts. And the reason why these cars aren't being counted, or the weight isn't affecting the overall numbers all that much, is because people just aren't buying these cars. But that's also why the discounts are so big, because I guess the better way to explain this is those numbers that I go over that take into account the averages, right? With asking price, right, that's going to be all cars across the board. But with transaction prices, that's going to be cars that are actually purchased. And so with these slower selling cars, there aren't as many purchases happening with them, then you can see how the weight isn't going to be as heavy in the overall number. Anyways, let's get into it. So first off, pickup trucks. Across the board, it is crazy some of the discounts. Ram right now, for example, is offering a 10% rebate on heavy duty trucks, and that is before dealers put in their own discount. If you get like a fully loaded Ram HD truck right now, the discount from the dealership plus the manufacturer discount equals about $20,000 off of MSRP. Now we're still talking about, $110,000, $115,000 truck still going for, just under $100,000. So it's still a ton of money to spend, but $20,000 discount, that is unheard of in this market that we've just experienced in the last couple of years. And then, Ford with the 2023 F-150s, I've seen huge discounts on those, $10,000, $15,000 off of MSRP, again, depending on the model and all of that. And so pickup trucks, right, the sales have slowed down enough that the discounts are getting really big. We're seeing 10, 15, 20% off of MSRP. And so manufacturers at this point on some of these models are, potentially going a little bit in the red just to get rid of vehicles. And so that's something that, again, it's not really putting all that much weight on the numbers, but, the discounts are definitely there. And this leads me into the next segment of cars that I'm noticing big discounts, and that's just 2023 model year vehicles in general and 2022 model year vehicles. Yes, there are still brand new vehicles at dealerships that are 2022s, believe it or not. For example, my local Mercedes dealership just sold a 22 S-Class. I might be wrong. It was a 22 or 23 S-Class. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was a 22. Regardless, it sold for like almost $20,000 off of original MSRP, because it was just, again, at that point, it was so old. They're like, let's just get rid of this. Let's discount it as much as we possibly can, just so that this isn't sitting on our showroom anymore. So 2022s, 2023s that are still brand new, huge discounts. Now, the thing to note here is that as a vehicle is older in the model year, that means that the resale value is going to be lower because of the older model year. So if you're planning on trading your vehicle relatively soon in the future, then going for an older model year vehicle with a bigger discount might not necessarily end up saving you money. But if you plan on keeping this vehicle for the next 10 years, for example, then yeah, you save a ton of money up front. So that's a little disclaimer on that. And then the next segment that is actually very surprising to me, because I wouldn't expect to see huge discounts within this segment, is some SUVs and crossovers. Now, again, it's going to vary manufacturer to manufacturer, but what I've been seeing is that some of these vehicles have been stacking up, like Toyota, for example, with their 4Runners, right? 4Runners over the course of most of the pandemic were MSRP, above MSRP in some cases, and now dealers, especially in 2023s, are discounting under MSRP by a pretty substantial margin. I've seen, for Toyota's margins, right? Toyota doesn't have a lot of markup on their cars, so the discounts aren't as big, but I'm seeing 10% off MSRP on some of these 4Runners, which, yeah, you usually don't see that with a Toyota. You usually see Toyotas go for MSRP or maybe 1 or 2% below MSRP, definitely not 10% below original MSRP. And then I've seen some stuff with Mazda. It depends, again, on availability within inventory, but like the CX-90s, like the hybrids, those have some pretty big discounts on them. And so I don't want to just keep going on with this. I think you guys get the point. And the point is, although the statistics state that, car prices haven't shifted all that much, the reality is that there are some pretty big discounts to be had that actually bring some cars, not all, but some cars back down to not quite pre-pandemic pricing, but a lot closer. It's kind of like more of like a middle ground. Like with those Ram trucks, for example, when I was selling Ram trucks, a fully loaded, Ram HD Limited, stickered for probably about $85,000, $90,000. And, most of the time they would sell, if it was a limited, they were not the easiest to get. They would sell for about MSRP. Maybe there'd be some discount, but usually they'd sell for around MSRP. And so with a 2024 selling for, in that $80,000 range, that brings that truck pretty close to what it was prior to the pandemic when it comes to pricing. Again, just depends on the car. So if you are currently shopping for a new car, then I would do some research into some of these discounts, because what you might find is a car that might have been out of touch just a few months ago could now fit within your budget, and it might make more sense than some other cars. I guess I'll, cap things off with the truck example. So just a few months ago, Ram HDs didn't really make sense compared to, Chevy HDs when it came to a purchase, because you get a fully loaded Chevy HD for around $90,000. And the Ram equivalent was like $110,000, right? But now with this huge rebate, it actually brings the Ram HDs to about the same price as the Chevys, and in some cases a little bit lower in price. And so then it's like, now do I go Ram or Chevy at this point? So that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this situation. Let me know if you think if this is just the beginning and if we're going to see even bigger discounts in the future, or if you think this is just kind of a December fluke where we've got big discounts now and next month the prices are going to go up. I'll see you.